this video, what I'd like to do is try and define a few more things. So in this video, I would like to express that where I'm exploring with abstract IE is about not just abstract art, but thinking more in terms of abstract thinking, which is why I've talked about felt sense. It's why I've talked about ways of knowing. It's why I've talked about what is abstract and what is understanding and how do we formulate understanding. So what I'd like to do now is just talk to you a little bit with an example of how that might be expressed in another way. So if we think about words is something that's a common language that we all have that we can utilize to create and understand a concept. And so for me, and a lot of people in Australia potentially, or in the Western culture, we didn't have a term that expressed finding joy in the misfortune of others. So that's a relational thing. So there's lots of components to that which create that feeling of finding joy in the misfortune of others. And German language does have that. So they have conceptualized that. So where in Australia we may have, before finding the term, have had a pre-conceptual experience of that feeling. And there's many feelings within that feeling. And then the other German word, which is feeling joy from the joy or success of others. So we might have that when a loved one has a success, or whether you see a breakthrough in science, or whether it's just the person down the road that you see smiling and that they're really enjoying their croissant. And you just go, oh, and you feel it. So the word for feeling joy in the misfortune of others is Schadenfreude. I'm not sure if I said that right, but that is when we perceive a negative or unpleasant emotion and understand that it's a common feeling felt by ourselves. And when we feel that, there's a sensation that goes with it, a felt sense of going, oh, other people have a hard time. And there's a sense of joy or relief. And maybe that comes from the competitiveness as well. And then Freudenfreude is joy from finding joy in another. And hopefully you experience that more. But it's that feeling where you can feel joy when someone else has a success. So it might be going to a gallery. It might be watching the Olympics. It might be about seeing a child eat a croissant. It might be seeing somebody learn something for the first time. It's a very different joy. So I hope that gives a different sort of conceptual example of how we might feel something, and it is relational until we're able to create a concept that enables the description or ability to use that language for another. So when an artist is expressing, they're often trying to express their feeling, their experience, and all of the components that make that up, when there isn't a language that they can define that with yet. So I guess that's part of what we're looking at with abstract IE, because it is that space between pre-conceptual and then the form as the way of knowing, and then that gift of communication from that form to another. All right, I hope that made sense.